everyone.
We're back.
Welcome to Play by Play's Q&A, where we are featuring a variety of professionals in the entertainment industry. We have so far been able to talk with people from the East Coast, New York City to LA, Germany, to Chicago. And now
my cat's joining us.
The cat is going to join in. And now we have the special privilege of having someone from Wisconsin.
Yay.
Talent is everywhere. The business is everywhere. Today's guest is the production stage manager at the Fireside Theater in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. The Fireside is Wisconsin's only Actors Equity dinner theater. And it's a great place to go to. It's very entertaining. She is amazing. Enough said. Here is MJ Bernhardt.
Oh my gosh. Hi, you guys.
Everybody clapping. Everybody clapping. Yeah. You are our secret weapon here because, I mean, you are Wisconsin, MJ.
Yeah.
You are, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you make, oh, Yahweh, you make Wisconsin proud. As I was thinking about this day, I thought, for crying out loud, oh, confetti, you born and raised in Wisconsin, yes?
Yes, born and raised in Fort Atkinson.
Oops. In Fort Atkinson.
Yeah, in Wisconsin.
You went to school. You were educated.
Yes.
Where did you go?
I went to Viterbo College in La Crosse. Well, it's Viterbo University now. When I went there, it was Viterbo College. Yep.
In Viterbo in La Crosse. And then, when you got out of school, where did you go?
After college, I did a stint as an actress in Michigan with the Children's Theater there. And then I did a few years of summer stock. And then I moved back to Fort Atkinson to line up my next job. And I landed myself at the Fireside.
At the Fireside. And you've been there a nice long time, haven't you?
Long time.
You know, I was talking with Carolyn earlier about in this business, they're usually contracts.
Yeah.
And it could last whatever. I mean, some shows can last a long time depending upon where it is. If it's on Broadway or Chicago, long term theaters. But they're generally very short. And you have to always go and search for your next job.
Right.
You are a face of the Fireside.
Well, yeah, I mean, I am full-time there and have been for 27 years. And 15 as production stage manager.
Yeah. I mean, it's what an amazing achievement.
Thank you.
I remember when Phil McKinley, who's a director, has done a lot of Fireside and on Broadway as well. When he was there at the Fireside, hey, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
He said, oh, he was actually coveting what you guys have. You and Ed and people who were there, because you can do the show after show, and it's just fabulous. I guess that could be called security, job security.
Yeah.
However, we are now in a pandemic.
We are?
I mean, are we? How did this pandemic affect you initially? What were you doing?
Well, we were in the middle of a production of Guys and Dolls.
Yeah.
That you music directed. And we were in our third week, and this was in March, early March. And I remember, I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday of that week, was when Broadway was announcing that they were shutting down. And, we knew stuff was coming down the pike.
Yeah.
And the end of our work week, 5 o'clock show on Sunday, at 5 minutes before curtain, the closing notice went up. And so there we were at the end of our third week out of what was going to be 7 weeks of a run of a show that everyone was having such a wonderful time with, fantastic cast, great audiences, fantastic show, Guys and Dolls. And abruptly, it had to come to an end. And so there's the immediate emotional devastation of this wonderful thing that is now being taken away from you.
Yeah.
And then you have to quick regroup and figure out, well, what happens now? And at that point, we didn't have our stay-at-home order yet. And so the week after we closed the show, the crew and I were able to come into work, and we were acting like we were striking the show. We, put away the costumes and packed up the props and all of that. And it was interesting because we were working on that Friday there in the middle of March, and we had heard some rumors that maybe a stay-at-home order was coming. And I remember saying to all the others on the crew, if there's anything, any personal belongings or anything that you have here at work that you think you might need, take them with you tonight when you go, in case we are not allowed to come back.
Wow, good thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sure enough, at the beginning of the following week was when the stay-at-home order was announced. And so at that point, my crew was taken away from me. The crew had to go on unemployment. I thankfully am able to stay on. So I have been working from home for the most part since the shutdown happened.
Yeah.
And then I've had like a pile of things to keep myself busy. And then of course the Fireside, which is a dinner theater. So they were a restaurant first. And so we kind of went back to our roots and we jumped on the curbside carry-out bandwagon. And so I've been helping out with that.
You've been helping out with the restaurant. That's cool.
Yeah.
Fireside is a family.
Yeah,
You do
absolutely.
what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
Sure. You yourself as a human being and as a stage manager always seem to be one step ahead of what's happening. I noticed that, in rehearsals, you are, because you have to really pay attention to so many things.
Yeah,
as a stage manager, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the greatest abilities you can have is to just keep your eyes and your ears open all the time and just take in everything around you, and just like in the rehearsal room, trying to keep, Mary and Ed are talking over here. I'm going to have an ear on that, but something's happening on stage over there. I'm going to keep an eye on that. You just have to try to take it all in and process all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During this time is there's no show now, obviously, and also Fireside is holding on to the fluid changes, the fluid situation. Yes,
yes.
Who knows?
Right.
I keep saying if we don't have hope, we have nothing. So we keep holding on to the hope.
Yep.
That that maybe not the show that was going to start at rehearsal this week, but in July.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And that is how we are proceeding at this time. Is we're just we're taking it day by day, and trying to figure out things that we can do in the meantime, like our gift shops reopened.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful, and they're doing a great job. You know, they're only allowing a few customers in at a time,
Yeah.
but they went ahead and figured out how to do online ordering during all of this, and so people can order online, and so they're doing good curbside business. It's fantastic. It's really pretty amazing the way that not only the Fireside but all sorts of businesses have been, you know, re-examining how they do things and coming up with all of these great ideas that, you know, we never thought we'd have to do it this way. And
Right.
you know, now we're faced with the idea of, you know, how are we going to do this in a, I was going to say a post-COVID world, but we're not there yet. But
No, but definitely there will have to be there will be changes.
oh yeah, definitely.
And it's going to really impact the poor stage manager.
Just today, I was at work this morning, actually. Our technical director and the assistant, Mary, they brought back the set for Church Basement Ladies to put in the warehouse. That was the show that we would be doing right now, but of course had to be canceled. So we were visiting today, and when I was waiting for them to arrive, I was actually in the green room with a tape measure, and you know, and I'm like, okay, if someone sits in this chair, can the person sit on the sofa next to them? You know, you got to start thinking of all these things. You know, you want the cast and crew to be as safe as possible going forward, and you know,
because you as a stage manager have to be guiding not only the safety of the actors, but the safety of the crew.
Yeah.
The safety in, well, the Fireside is in the round, so enter and exit through the aisles, through the audience.
Right.
So you have to take that into account as well.
Yeah. We've got this here in case people aren't familiar. That's the stage.
Yep.
So the audience is right there.
I mean, it's not that big of a stage. How big is that stage?
It's
corner to corner.
it's 20 by 20, and the hydraulic lift that's in the center of the stage is that is 12 feet across.
Yeah. So see, even going up and down that hydraulic, you're going to have certain social distancing and masks and all that.
It's its own safety protocol.
Its own safety. Yeah. So while this is going on, rather than just sit back and spin your wheels, so to speak, like you said, you're working stuff. Is the Fireside then making changes, or they do? Because I know they had some renovations going on. All of that now put on the forefront that they can do that now instead of later.
Yeah, we had the subfloor underneath our decorative stage. There's a decorative stage floor that goes down for every production that matches the look of the theater. And the subfloor has been in pretty bad shape for a while, and it was in the works to get rebuilt in January. And then this opportunity presented itself, you know, and so management went ahead and said, well, we had it on the books for January. If we do it now, we don't have to worry about it in January. And so they started working on the stage rebuild like the week after the shutdown began. And I would come in like once a week after all the workers were gone, and I'd sneak into the theater to see the progress. It was so exciting. To have this beautiful rebuilt thing, and it's done now. Right now, it's still just bare wood, but it's very exciting. Yeah, new stage.
Yeah, really. I mean, there's no rest really. I mean, even though this has been unprecedented and unimaginable. we have to make the most of it. And even not just theater, but all businesses, have to think and use it to better yourself. We see with performers, the two that were on yesterday, whom you know, Shanna Vanderwerker and Justin Brill, Vander Brill Studios, said that this is a time for you to be, work on yourself and reflect on that, so that we are ready when the future says we can do something in some way, shape, or form. Now, Fireside is known for its big musicals. Like
this.
Holy moly.
Newsies.
Look at that dancing. Look at that dancing. I mean, it's the wow factor that I just love it. But look how close they are.
I mean,
oh my God.
Big show,
that big show, they're big casts, and they're beautifully done and wonderfully acted. And the crew is fantastic. The designs, the lights, the costumes.
There's that decorative floor. You can see really
nice. Oh my God, My Fair Lady. So
beautiful.
So it's going to have to think about rethinking these big shows. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've heard a lot. I've been doing so much reading.
Yes.
That a lot of people feel that for theater to continue, we might have to wait for a vaccine. So it's hard. It's so hard to say.
So maybe something on maybe a smaller, more intimate size. I don't know if that would be affordable for Fireside.
Right.
But maybe that's, who knows? Yes.
Sure, absolutely. Just today we were joking about, one-man shows and two-person shows and things like that. But you shouldn't joke about it. These are things that a lot of theaters are considering.
We joke about play-by-play being ahead of the COVID curve.
small shows and no money.
Trendsetters.
I have seen you on stage, and maybe you should think about doing that one-woman show.
Oh,
MJ, the stage manager, a stand-up stage manager. I think the crew would love it.
It would be very comical.
Even if it was just for the crew.
Even if it was just for them. Even just for them. MJ, how did you really get into stage managing? How did that come?
Well, it's interesting because it started with acting in a way. So, like I said, I was born and raised here in Fort Atkinson, where the Fireside is, and my I started being in plays like in high school, and our senior year, we were going to be doing West Side Story. And it was going to be directed by the gentleman who was stage manager at the Fireside at that time. Oh. And I was all excited. Oh, West Side Story. And so I auditioned and I wanted to be Anita. And I did not get the part.
Okay.
And not only that, I was not cast at all.
Oh.
And I was devastated. But my friend Tammy was going to be stage managing, and so I was her assistant stage manager, and so that was pretty cool. Yeah. And then like I said, that was my senior year of high school. The summer after my senior year, I stage managed a community theater production in town, and I really enjoyed that a lot. And then I went off to college. And my freshman year, it's kind of unheard of for a freshman to be asked to stage manage, but there was a fellow who was directing his senior project, and it was going to be an original play written by another student. And they had heard that I had done some stage managing. And at the time, it was a very small department. So there weren't a lot of people who were studying stage management. And they said, would you be interested in stage managing it? And I said, yes. And then that kind of, the fellow who directed that show, Paul, really became a mentor for me through college. And I ASM'd a production that he was stage manager for, and I just kind of fell in love with it from there. I did continue to do a lot of acting through college as well. But when I got out of college, it was stage management that I thought that is what I was going to do for a career. And turns out I was right.
Yeah. Isn't that funny when you're younger?
Yeah.
You have these ideas that you want to be this or that. This is what
Yeah.
you want to do. You want to be in a show.
Right.
You know? So you got in, but not the way you were planning.
Yeah.
So you were open to other possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take the opportunity when it came, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And there's something about stage management that really appealed to, well, I like things just so. I'm pretty meticulous, and so that appealed to me, and organizing things, and
Yes,
office supplies, and all of that. That's for Casey. Office supplies.
Yeah, you are so organized. I always joke when I'm there. I say I need my own stage manager in my life. Because, I mean, stage managers are to me the most amazing and necessary ingredient to a show. I mean, a crappy stage manager is not a happy production.
Well, it's important to have someone who's calm and detail oriented and to a degree nurturing, at the helm. It's important. You want the cast and crew to feel comfortable and able to do their art, to feel free to create.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think the fact that you have on-stage experience makes you even more sensitive to actors and what they're going through, because the process there is pretty fast.
Yeah, it is.
And you have a different cast every time you do a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's some people who come back, but generally it's a whole nother company, a whole nother set of dynamics. So how do you manage being a stage manager at the Fireside? Now, we all know what a stage manager is. Manages the stage. But the stage consists of so many elements, on and off stage. But then there's the rehearsal room as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just explain to people how that rolls. So the process from rehearsal through the performance.
Sure. Well, it often starts, of course, weeks, possibly months in advance, with getting prepped for the show, making sure that, and a lot of this I don't necessarily do. I just have to make sure it is getting done.
Right.
Right. Make sure that the cast has been sent their scripts, and that all the members of the production team, that they have a script. And then if there are any sort of production meetings or email correspondence with the designers, we stay in touch that way. And I get information from the director, I get the cast list, and then, I start my paperwork prep. And the director at the Fireside usually takes care of things like the costume plot and the rehearsal schedule, which sometimes is done by the stage manager. But and so we get all of that together, and then make sure that everything's good to go for the cast to arrive. How are they going to actually get to Fort Atkinson and moving into the houses or the hotel or wherever they're staying for the rehearsal period.
Now, casts, just let me interject.
Mm-hmm.
The casts, because the auditions are held in New York City and Chicago.
Correct.
And that's going to be put on hold now too, of course, but
yeah,
that's been done in the past. And so those people either fly in or they drive in or whatever from wherever they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, first day of rehearsal, we have our company meeting. Of course, from the moment we begin, one of the stage manager's most important jobs is keeping track of the time.
Yeah.
And trying to keep everything timely and making sure that breaks are being taken when they need to be taken, and to keep breaks on time so that we're making the best use of our time. It's all about time. And then in rehearsal, just making sure that getting with the costume designer. We have the luxury of having our costume shop literally through a door that is attached to the rehearsal hall. And so coordinating with our costume designer for costume fittings and that kind of thing. And then, of course, when staging begins, to be taking note of all of the staging that's given in your prompt book so that you have the master copy for future reference. And, for when we go back and run things and maybe someone has forgotten their blocking, you can help them out there. And then, of course, it helps later when the show is up and running to have all the blocking in the book for like understudy rehearsals or any sort of emergency put-in rehearsal where you might need to know where someone goes and you don't have it memorized, even though it's amazing how quickly you can memorize a show when you watch it day after day. And again, just trying to, keep things timely in rehearsal and make sure everyone's staying on track and that we're covering what we need to cover. And if not, getting with the powers that be and rescheduling things so that everything can get covered at some point. Yeah. And all the time just trying to keep everyone positive and moving forward, because we're all, heading toward the same goal, an amazing show.
And staying positive, everybody staying positive is sometimes difficult, isn't it, MJ?
It can be. It can be.
Stage manager, we should all realize what the stage manager is boss says. Zip it, everybody. It's kind of like what you do with the director. Just take the note.
Right.
The note. And then, but sometimes, we're all human and some tempers can fly. And you always manage, at least from what I can see, is a sense of humor. But still, you've got to be, like you said, no nonsense. You've got to maintain order.
Right.
And you are totally organized. Now, how do you do that with two shows? We do have a question. How do you keep it together on those really hard days?
I don't.
I mean, you make it seem not as hard as it really is.
Well, it's important. Well, first, it is. I am so lucky because my crew is amazing. Casey, the ASM, fantastic.
Yeah.
And so my crew, they are my biggest cheerleaders. And, they know if I'm getting down on something, they lift me up. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. They are fabulous. And they also come from a wonderful place of humor. And we just try to have a good time through tech. We I often say on headset when we're going into our first tech rehearsal, I apologize in advance for anything nasty I might say. I want you all to know that I love you.
There we go. Nothing personal. This is just
right.
That's very personal. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. It's also important every now and then to get up and walk away. Like when you're in tech, if we take a break, it's important to get up and stretch your legs. Don't spend every hour of a long tech day poring over your book or trying to get stuff figured out. You've got to take a break.
Yeah.
You got to practice a little bit of self-care.
Yeah. You're good at reminding everybody about that. I'll just keep saying that over and over, how much I admire you and what you do and how fortunate Fireside is to have having a wonderful stage manager like you. Now, when you do 2 shows, though, MJ, there's always a rehearsal of one going on while a performance of another, right?
Correct.
That to me seems stressful.
It can be. Those are some pretty long weeks there. And again, that's where Casey, the ASM, really, that's where she comes into play. So, we have rehearsal starting in the morning, and then there comes a point in the day where if it is a day where we have a matinee, depending on the type of show it is, either I will go call the matinee or she will go call the matinee. And then, so one of us will be over in the theater doing the matinee while the other remains in rehearsal. And then if it's a day where we have 2 shows, then we rejoin each other in the theater that night for the evening show. Or if there's work to be done on the show in rehearsal, that person would do that work at night while the other person is calling the show. Yeah. And so, we have a pretty good, we work together very well, I think.
You really have that organized.
Yeah.
Really, the scheduling of all of that.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a long day. Yeah. Rehearsal start at 10 and a show comes down at night at 10?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yowza.
Yeah.
What a great gig.
Woohoo. The glamorous life.
But I said, when you have it, it's wonderful that you have work.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you ever get any time off?
I do now. Right. Well, I mean, I do if the season warrants it, that there is a show that that I can get away during, I would go away. And like actually Church Basement Ladies probably would have been the show where I would have taken vacation, because it is a smaller cast and we don't use as many bells and whistles as we do for our larger musicals. And so I probably would have taken my vacation during that show. But I mean, we do have our show schedule, our ordinary show schedule, does afford us some time off. We have our Mondays and Tuesdays off, and we also have Fridays off, which is kind of nice. So, we have shows on Wednesday and Thursday, and then we have a day off, and then we have, 2 shows on Saturday and 2 shows on Sunday. So it's kind of nice to have that little break there in the middle of your show week. Yeah.
Some theaters are now saying that with this new situation that we're in, that maybe matinees might go out the window because you have to disinfect everything between shows.
Yeah.
And there may not be enough time to do that, right?
It's possible. It really all depends on, again, the size of the theater and what method of disinfecting you're using. There are some products that are on the market that there's a local bar that was using something. They come in and they spray your entire facility, and apparently it's good for 90 days.
Ooh.
So
I learned so much from you.
I've been doing so much reading.
I read everything you post. You post such great articles and things like that, that really helps make us think. Yeah. To make us think. Oh, look at this, Bobby. Oh, Bob. We love you too, Bobby. Yeah. Hey, when you just don't work with people, though. You also have to stage manage animals sometimes, right?
Like this. Who wants to guess what show that is?
And you have to stage manage kids.
Kids.
Just, yeah.
Kids and animals.
Kids and animals.
So that's lots of fun, isn't it? And
that's a unique challenge.
So you can get a child wrangler, and then the dog has its
Isn't that a new term now?
Oh, I can't say child wrangler.
Child wrangler anymore.
Right. What do they call it now?
New term. If anybody knows it, can you help us out? There's
Casey.
a new term.
That's right. That's so bad. You can't say piano accompanist anymore either.
No?
It's a collaborator.
Oh. Law.
The theater babysitter.
Yeah, yeah. So now what would you say? Another question somebody asked.
Mhm.
What's the toughest part or the most demanding? Maybe they're the same or different part of being a stage manager. That can just, yeah, you might have, you know,
Yeah,
but you really love being a stage manager. Maybe
I
there's
do.
a tough part for you.
Yeah, I do. I do. I really do like it.
You ever have do you have to bite your tongue?
Of course. Of course. I mean,
Yeah,
we're all human.
we're all human, exactly. And we're all there for the same purpose,
Yeah.
to get it done. I think sometimes stage managers in smaller theaters, maybe in community theater and stuff like that, are not necessarily as strong or as demanding. I say that I mean that in a nice way, though, the demanding thing, that to keep everything organized and stuff. But other people do it. The director sometimes will will do all of that stuff as well. But I hope that regional theaters can and probably will bounce back from this before Broadway and tours and bigger houses.
I hope so.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
So really, there is no tough part because you love it all, right?
Well, maybe the toughest part is remembering to take time for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be nice to
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
So what would you say to anyone who wants to go into this field of stage management?
Well, I mean, I could say, like you, I have a friend who, when Michael Hawes, when he gives student seminars at the Fireside, he says, if you're interested in going into theater, if there's anything else that you would rather do that.
Oh,
but
That lately. Yep.
Right. But I mean, but then there are those of us who it's not all about the money, and it's about doing something that you love. And so for the people who want to do it because they love it, that is the best reason in the world to do something. And so I'd say to an up and coming stage manager, do as much as you can to get experience. Doesn't even have to be as a stage manager. Be an assistant stage manager. Be on the crew. Be in the kind of position where you can observe the stage manager and observe the technical goings on of a show and take it all in. I learned so much from my predecessors at the Fireside, just from being in that chair to the right of the stage manager all those years. And those were valuable lessons from just listening and observing. But also for aspiring stage managers, make a lot of connections, make friends, be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you have to. Another thing added to being a stage manager, and you are dealing with union and non-union actors. Now, Fireside treats everybody with equal respect.
Yes.
But you have to know those rules as well, union rules as well as just the practical rules of stage management.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And rules can keep changing. I mean, how do you stay on top of those rules?
Well, I mean, you just have to study up, and when new stuff comes about, Ed, our director, he's really great with communicating stuff with me and I with him about stuff like that and what I need to know going forward if anything has changed. I mean, the Fireside has their own equity rule book, and stuff can change a little bit from update to update. Usually nothing too major in regards to like rehearsal hours and things like that. Those things stay pretty standard. But yeah, I keep a slightly outdated photocopied version of our rule book at my left hand all the time. Hoping to get a fresher one someday soon, but it's always available online. But every now and then, it's good to have it just right there on paper, quick to grab. And I'm a paper hoarder, so.
What I get a kick out of is that people come to you for everything, and you're not responsible for everything. But people think MJ knows.
It's like, oh, you need one of those? Oh, let me see if I've got that. Oh, hold on. I've got that.
I mean, I even ask you about some music stuff. I ask your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You think this will work? What can we do here? What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a loss. And the fact that you pay attention to all that stuff. You pay attention to the props and the music and the dance and the tunes. And, people, I mean, it's just truly impressive. So anybody who likes to be in charge, but yet in a non-threatening way, should be a stage manager.
Oh,
they're organized, yes. And there's so many women stage managers who are just kick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know so many good women stage managers here in Green Bay.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Well, and I like that you said that the best way to get that experience is just to do it or shadow someone.
Yeah.
Because there's really, at least what I've come across here, there's really no stage manager's course. And a lot of friends and colleagues of mine who are stage managers here have learned it through stage managing for their school shows or for community theater shows.
Right.
It's really the only way that they can learn it.
Yeah. And I mean, there are some books out there,
Mm-hmm.
but by the same token, the procedures that one person might like to use, another might not care to do that, especially when it comes to putting together your book.
Mm-hmm.
You read things like hole punch it on the left, or no, hole punch it on the right. No, just do what works for you.
So stupid.
Yeah, right. Do what works for you. If my predecessor, he used little sticky glow dots, the kind of thing you'd buy to put on like a garage sale, little garage sale stickers, and he would use those all over his script. And when I took over, I thought, well, do I need to use garage sale stickies on my script? But
you're your thing.
But I don't. But I am a lover of the Post-it note, so I have little Post-it flags all over my script. That's usually how I roll.
Yeah, and oftentimes you do funny little pictures and stuff to make everybody happy because holy Post-it note.
Oh yeah.
to help, just so everybody can chill. We had a very good stage manager for one of our productions, Return to the Forbidden Planet, which I was so surprised that she was so good because I wasn't expecting that. It was such a pleasure that she was just this little pip of a thing, and tough as nails, and she would keep me in my place, and I really appreciated
which is hard to do.
Really?
You know what else that you do that's really, 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 really good? Is that
do tell.
You keep people in touch with the town. Like when the Frost Freeze opens up, or the Flavor of Wheat, or where's the fireworks? I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, that's important. I mean, our casts come from all over the country, and they don't know what there is to do in this little town in the middle of, in the middle of Wisconsin. And so I usually try to put together a cast Facebook page that I can use to post, this bar has a DJ tonight, and the farmers market is this weekend, and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. The historic water tower is giving tours. Yeah, so that they know that there are things to do, and Tupperware bingo.
Yeah, it's just so dear. It's just so dear. Now you've been there so long. Do you think the audiences recognize you?
There are some like season ticket holder type folks that do. Irene of Fran and Irene, whenever some long time season ticket holder, whenever she's at the show, when she's getting up at intermission, she always comes and she knocks on my window and gives me a little wave, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because those people are family, Fireside family as well.
Right.
Regular people. Well, that's pretty much what Fireside is. It's kind of a fluke in theater because it's run by a family.
Yeah, I mean, we're on our
a biological family.
Yes.
Because
more than theater family.
More than theater family.
Right. Or like the Manson family.
Oh God, yes. Oh, wouldn't that? Wrong way.
No.
Right. We're on our third generation of Klopsiks running the Fireside. It's fantastic, and the fact that I knew Dick. I knew the founder of the Fireside. I had that pleasure to know Dick, and then be there when his son Rick took over, and Rick is still around, and now his son Ryan has taken over.
Yeah,
and it's really great.
So where are your facial wrinkles? You should be really, really old now. I mean, you've been there for you are so youthful.
Yeah. That's because I am facing a big window right now.
So you've paid attention to Jason Fassel's lighting techniques.
Yes.
Learning all these things over the years. Well,
right.
Yeah. Well, I think, because you do, obviously, the uniqueness of your situation. It is a situation that not many stage managers have, that they can have a theater that they call home.
Mm-hmm.
I work at another theater in Pennsylvania, but there's never just one stage manager. They alternate.
Right.
Because they do the same schedule. They would never have the same stage manager for both shows. So you see the
right.
Yeah. Apples, oranges, but still. So no matter what you do in the theater, even if you go for stage management work, you have to be resilient, and you have just do things and be prepared for having to find work, which is going to be possibly difficult for a while. Yeah. I have no work for the rest of the year, as well as 64,000 other members of equity from day one. Right. But then there's also the non-equity people. So, this is just it is catastrophic, but not hopeless.
Correct.
Not hopeless. Well, I really hope that we can get together someday soon.
I hope so too.
Keep posting those very interesting articles and funny stuff as well that you make everybody smile. A lot of it is stage management humor.
Yes.
Which we can get
theater humor.
Yeah. Well, MJ, for Turbo's proud, Wisconsin proud, Fort Atkinson proud, Fireside proud. Before you go, though, I'm going to read a little tribute to you.
Oh.
That Chris White wrote on your Facebook page in honor of Mother's Day. I think he called you the mother of Fireside, or probably more beautiful than I just said. That sounds kind of dorky. But anyway, he said, thank you. I echo this, obviously. Thank you for keeping the ship running smoothly over the years, and for infusing the operation with joy, order, professionalism, and humor. Thank you, MJ. You make everybody enjoy that place. You make it, you help create beautiful stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Mary.
Oh, yeah, everybody loves you. Everybody loves you.
Everyone.
All right.
I love everybody.
Take care, sweetheart.
All right. Much love to you.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Oh, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, MJ. Stage managers, the heroes of theater, I think.
The unsung heroes, that's for sure.
Heroes.
Yeah.
And thank you all again for tuning in. If you are able to, please make we invite you to make a donation to your favorite local theater or arts group and help them get going during this time. I actually donated £3 because I had to figure out how it converts to US dollars to the Globe Theater today. Ooh. It's only £3. But right, it's every little bit helps. So if you can do the same to one of your local theater groups, go to the gift shop for the Fireside, help them keep going. And I'm just going to share some more of these right here. Was an honor to be your ASM back in your early days at the Fireside. Oh. I know MJ's not on screen, but I think she can still see this.
Oh, so. My goodness. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
And
very proud.
Yeah. And
very
Mallory.
Proud. Very proud. We will be here tomorrow at 1:00 Central again. This time we will have 3 performers joining us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 2 are Green Bay natives.
Wow. We're really getting close to home now.
Yeah. We'll have Kelsey Danae, Elizabeth McMonigal, and Greg Pragle. Thank you, everybody.
Stay safe. Love you. Thanks.